University of St Andrews has been hosting the Boyd Quaich since 1946. The tournament open to university students, played over 4 rounds, 2 on the old course, 2 on the new course here in St Andrews. And with world ranking points available, the field grows stronger every year and more wide-ranging. Golfers coming from the USA, France, Ireland, Hong Kong. But leading us away on the first tee on the old course this year was Ricky McNeil from King's College London. And it has to be said, the nerves getting to him a little. Well, it's not every day you play the home of golf. But we can move over to the slightly less nerve-wracking, perhaps, first tee on the new course. The sunshine finally breaking through. And this is where a lot of the top end of the field were starting off their tournament. And here we can see a nice approach shot from Oliver Roberts from Stirling University. And the sunshine on the first hole. Now this is James Tisdale from Bethany College in Kansas. He originally comes from Liverpool. He'd be fancying his chances of a victory this week. And a nice start with his approach here at the first. Well, the pleasant conditions continued for the golfers on day 1. Out to the 5th, Jack Heisman. Now, originally from London, he's studying at Georgia Regents University over in America. And a beautiful tee shot from Jack. And of course, Georgia, well, that's golfing country out there in the United States. Home to Augusta and the Masters. Down onto the green, Declan Loftus from the National University of Ireland in Maynooth. Rolling in a very nice putt, but the shake of the head tells you that was for a par as opposed to a birdie. Back down to the tee, Alex Gleeson enjoying the sunshine in his shorts from the University of Dublin. And the par 3 5th on the new course. Well, it's 180 yards long and you land on a downslope, but some of the golfers making light work of it. Beautiful shot from Alex Gleeson there. And also, down on the green, Tom Beasley from St Andrews University. This for a birdie. And flying the flag for the hosts. Very nicely done there from Tom. He would finish round 1, 1 under par. Out behind, Craig Chalmers from Strathclyde University. Craig, a quality golfer. Plays a lot in the Scottish Order of Merit tournaments. And landing on that downslope, as you can see, running through. But he had a steady opening round. 1 over par. Perhaps a little disappointing, but you would expect Craig to be in contention. Now, speaking of golfers, you would expect to be right up there. Here's Louis Tomlinson from the University of Central Lancashire, Palmer Cup player this year, and a wonderful tee shot here at the 5th. He had a -269 on the opening day in the new course, and he also would fancy his chances of a victory this week. Back onto the old though, and there was some nice play from some of the other golfers. Matthew Reynolds, University of Oxford. He had the lowest score on the old course on day 1, shooting level par. On the 16th, Andrew Stokes. Another man enjoying the sunshine in his shorts from Trinity College in Dublin. And a very nice approach shot indeed. The old course can be punishing coming down the home straight. It can be intimidating, and perhaps no more intimidating a shot than the tee shot at the famous road hole 17th. We have to wait for the green flag signal before teeing blind over the hotel as Jonathan Crawford from Glasgow University demonstrates beautifully there. A nice high tee shot right over the writing on the sheds. Down to the green, David Crummy, University of Oxford, saving his par very nicely. And a few of the spectators and tourists walking around enjoying the golf in the background. Back to the new course, and some good scores being posted by those out late in the day. Here, Nicolas Mahut from the University of Rouen in North France. He had a -170 Nice approach here at the 7th. This was Henry Tomlinson from Stirling University. They've got a great golf programme there. Henry just missing his birdie putt. But he too would finish round 1 under par with a 70 on the new course. Steady stuff. Another Frenchman from the University of Rouen, Victor Joffre. He was 3 under at one point on his round on the opening day on the new course, but dropped a couple of shots in the later holes to also finish at 1 under par with a 70. But leading the way in spectacular style after the first round was this man, Matthew Fieldson from the University of Birmingham. Not quite seeing his birdie putt home here on the 7th. But he played an excellent round of golf on the new course. He shot a very impressive 65 to finish the round 1. Clearly in the lead at 6 under par. And some of the fellow golfers quite impressed having a look on there at the day 1 leaderboard. Well, conditions were set to stay fair for the rest of the tournament, as play finished on the opening rounds on day 1. We're going to pick up the action for the final round. Day 3, 54 holes behind them. And the leading competitors finishing off on the old course. That was James Tisdale again. He started the day at 1 over par, but after that approach shot on the first, got it back to level for the tournament. Out just behind him was Robin Peterson from Georgia Regents University. He started the day at 1 under par, but after that marvellous approach at the first, tapped in for birdie to go to 2 under for the tournament. But still a gap to close, because out in the final group were our leaders. Here's Nicholas Mahout, starting the day at 6 under par, tapping in for a par to stay at 6 under. And the Frenchman looking good. Alongside him is Henry Tomlinson from Stirling University, rolling in a great birdie putt. He started the day at 3 under, and with that moved to 4 under, just 2 off the lead. And Matthew Fieldson had kept up his good form from day 1. He also started the day at 6 under. So this putt home safely for a par on the first. And there are 3 leaders out on the course. 2 at 6 under. And Henry Tomlinson at 4 under. Further out on the course, here at the 9th, a man looking to eat into that lead was Strathclyde University's Quaich. And after that approach shot in the par 4, he would see that birdie putt home to be 3 under for the day and 4 under for the tournament. A little bit further back, but showing the imagination you need to play the old course, was Declan Loftus. He was +1 for the day, making him +2 for the tournament. He missed his birdie putt, finished with a 76 and a tie for 15th. Now, John Milne from Bournemouth University on the par 3 11th, playing up a nice second to make sure he got his par here. He started the day at 1 over. He finished the day at 3 over for the tournament and a tie for 10th. Victor Joffre from France started the day at level par, 6 behind the leaders, managed to hold par with that lengthy putt here on the 11th. He was 1 under for the tournament at this point. Perhaps just a little bit too much to make up. Back to the 10th, and Matthew Fieldson had this for a birdie to move to 8 under for the tournament. It just stayed out. He was 1 under today. And at this point, still tying for the lead. But not a golfer that looked too happy with his game. 1 shot back at the time was Henry Tomlinson. But this putt rolling in gave him his 6th birdie of the day to be 5 under for the day and 8 under for the tournament. Now with a 1 shot lead over Fieldson. On to the 11th. And Frenchman, Nicholas Mayhout. This tricky par 3, one of only 2 par 3s in the old course. But Henry taking advantage of benign conditions to knock his tee shot close. Unfortunately, Matthew Fieldson didn't manage to hit the green with his tee shot. And you could see just what an awkward shot back he had. Very typical punishment here on the old course if you miss the greens. Rolling off away and leaving a tricky approach back on. He would miss that par putt and bogey the hole to move back to 6 under par. Now Nicholas had this for a birdie to move him to 8 under par for the tournament. 2 ahead of Fieldson and now 1 ahead of Henry Tomlinson, who also bogeyed 11. Further out on the course, at the 16th, we can have a look at Alex Gleeson from the University College of Dublin. Alex had a very steady tournament, managing to save his par here and finish tied for 10th at 3 over. Louis Tomlinson had faded slightly in his middle rounds, leaving himself a lot to do on the final day if he was going to be in contention. He saved his par 4 here at the 16th and had a fantastic finishing round of 69. He would finish the tournament at 1 under par in 5th place. John Milne from Bournemouth, well, up at 17. Finding out the hard way that you don't want to be big with your approach shot. Very narrow green, one of the toughest par 4s in the world of golf. He got a bogey here, missing that putt. Finishing the day also at 3 over and a tie for 10th. Craig Chalmers had been putting together an impressive final round up until this point. He needed that putt for a par to stay at 4 under for the tournament, but missed it. And just coming off the pin there, Victor Joffrey. Well, unfortunately, he carded a 7 here at the 17th. And finished the tournament 4 over par in 14th place. Up to 18 and James Tisdale. He had that to birdie the last. As it was, he got a par. A 1 under par performance on the final day. Finishing the tournament at level par and a tie for 6th. Back down to the 17th and Nicholas Mayhout. He dropped a few shots since we last saw him on the 11th and was now sitting at 5 under par for the tournament. And facing that putt to save his par and stay at 5 under. Henry Tomlinson was 6 under par, but this was a par putt. It didn't quite drop, not quite making it up to the hole, and he would drop back to 5 under. Could Mayhout stay at 5 under? Yes, he could. He knew how important that putt was. And they were the 2 leaders tied as they moved on to the final hole. The penultimate group up on the 18th green. Well, with our approaches, this was Robin Peterson. After a great birdie on the first, he dropped a few shots out in the course, but he was looking to finish as he had started, very nearly holing his second. And he needed that for a birdie to finish the tournament at level par. Craig Chalmers, 2 under for the day. Needed that to move to 4 under for the tournament to put a little bit of pressure on the 2 leaders. It didn't drop, he saw it home. And he finished the tournament 3 under par in 3rd place. Now, could Robin see his birdie putt in? Yes, he could. Nicely done. Finishing at level par and a tie for 6th. And a good performance. But the battle was between Henry Tomlinson and Nicholas Mayhout now. This was Henry's approach. Playing it safe. Onto the large final green. Now, what could Nicholas do? It was straight match play always from this point. Could he force Henry to putt out first? Well, there wasn't much to choose between them. And all to play for on the final green. On the 72nd hole, could Nicholas knock in a wonderful putt to finish at 6 under? Not quite, just coming up a little bit short. He would see that in, finish at 5 under par. fantastic performance from the Frenchman. A lot of good things happening in French amateur golf. And a well-deserved high five. Now, could Tomlinson see this home for a birdie and a one-shot victory? Well, he too just coming up a little bit short. But the par was safe, and he too would finish on 5 under par. And what about the third man? Matthew Fieldsend, who'd started the day tied for the lead. Well, he dropped a couple of shots on the old course in the final round, finishing with a 76 to close out the tournament at 2 under par in 4th position. A disappointing end for the Birmingham University golfer. As it was, Henry Tomlinson had to see this in to finish at 5 under alongside Nicholas Mayhout. But the conditions of the tournament meant it went to a count back, which meant that Stirling University's Henry Tomlinson was a 2014 Boyd Quaich champion.
Feels great. Played pretty solid today and yesterday, the last 2 rounds, so it's good to get a win, yeah. The back 9 was tougher than the front 9, so I had a bad run with 3 bogeys in a row, but was feeling the pressure in the last few, but managed to put a few good swings on it, so ended up just about getting the job done. So
a great victory for Henry. So what does the future hold?
Try and see how I go, try and get to the top of the amateur game, and then I can maybe think about turning pro, but just try and do well in the amateur game. That's the priority for me at the moment. So,
congratulations, Henry Tomlinson from the University of Stirling, the Boyd Quaich winner 2014.